I think it's going to be more significant than I can probably explain today. Everything from real estate to entertainment to finance to gaming to business is going to be touched by NFTs in some way, shape, or form.
Welcome back to Cool Hand Crypto, where cinema, culture, and crypto collide. I'm your host, Matt Silverman. Please subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast app so we can continue bringing you the greatest conversations you have ever listened to. Now, a big part of this show is navigating the cultural impact of our decentralized future. But in order to do that, we need to first untangle our brains and understand the language. I'm actively trying to learn these topics and yet find myself continually struggling to navigate this new landscape. My number one resource for when I'm lost is Tic Toc, which is a bit of an oxymoron because it's the number one place to get lost, but it's also a destination where you can hear people discuss topics informally in a vernacular that my sleep-deprived parent oatmeal brain can understand. I like to think of TikTok like a party, and every time you flip the screen, you're entering a new room with a new person and a new deep dive conversation. So imagine you're at this party and you come across this guy on a couch. He's always on a couch, and he's talking about the blockchain. But it's not complicated or heady. It's just a conversation you can understand. With over 74,000 followers on TikTok, I'm clearly not the only person at this party, nor the only listener, but I'm nonetheless thrilled to be speaking with YouTuber, TikToker, and crypto sage Bon Jenn. Bon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure to be here.
I want to start off with a little bit about your background and TikTok. So where are you coming from and how'd you get into TikTok?
Honestly, I kind of just started this TikTok like a month ago, like yesterday maybe. And I've always been into like crypto and that whole like area, that whole space, and I love talking to my friends about it, but they're just like not into it like I am. And so I think a couple months ago I started a YouTube channel, and I had done YouTube before, but like other things, and it just like didn't really work out. But I was like, okay, let me just talk about crypto, and it was kind of growing slowly. And then I made a video sitting on the couch, and I was like, this will make a great TikTok. So I threw it on TikTok, and it did like okay. Chopped that video into like 3 or 4 videos. They did okay, and I just kept going, and I started answering questions and stuff. And then I made a metaverse video, and that one like did very well. And I was like, okay, there's obviously something here. And I noticed people kept commenting like, hey, like you're explaining it in a way that I can understand it. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I didn't really realize that there was like a market for people that are new to this, because like for some reason I just assumed that like everyone kind of knows about it, but like nah, it's like it's so new, and like new stuff is like being added literally every month. So yeah, that's basically like my job on TikTok, to just explain it in a way that everybody can understand it, because I want everybody to learn about it because it's super exciting. What
were the numbers on TikTok where you said this is going viral or people really like this?
So I was at work when I posted the metaverse video. I was working like all night at my job. I think I posted like 10 o'clock, and like 15 minutes into it I checked it, and it had like 40,000 like plays already, and the other ones had like a couple thousand or whatever. And I was like, wow, this is like, and I thought that one wasn't gonna do well too, because I don't know, like there were like a couple like spelling mistakes in it, and I kind of like rushed it. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And my dad was sitting right next to me too, and I was like, hey Dad, check this out. And he's like, oh, that's cool, that's cool. Like he didn't really like pay any attention to it. And then I woke up the next day, and it had like 500,000, and I had like 10,000 followers. And I was like, okay, I really gotta like double down on this. So every day I've been posting 2 TikToks a day, just trying to like keep the momentum going.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you that. So what has been your strategy? 2 TikToks a day? Is there certain times of day that you post what has been your sort of growth strategy, and what have you seen that's worked and maybe what doesn't work?
2 TikToks a day is really just like for me to hold myself accountable. I don't really care about like the time of day because like I posted the metaverse video at like 10 o'clock at night and it went crazy. So as long as I get like 2 up every day,
Right.
and I usually end up getting them up like in the late afternoon, like 6 or 7. Um, but in terms of like what's worked, just like stuff that's like really shareable. I always like look at the number of shares, and videos that have like a high number of shares usually do well. It's always about like me teaching something in a way that's easy to understand. And you would think that like maybe a shorter video has like a lot to do with it, but a lot of my long form videos, like sometimes I go up to 3 minutes, and those like do really well and people watch till the end. So really just I think it's a combination of teaching people. I try to throw a little bit of humor in there to like make people laugh. Yeah, really just like something you can share with someone.
Do you know what the sort of threshold is for monetizing this momentum? You know, you have 70,000 followers. That seems to me to be very valuable. Are you able to do sponsored posts, or are you able to monetize this, or the creator fund? Are you in the creator fund? The TikTok has its own creator fund.
Also, I'm in the creator fund, and I like to be completely transparent about this because everybody wants to know. So the creator fund so far has paid me in a month, I think, a little more than $100. So that's like two TikToks a day, like about $100, and that's like not a lot for the amount of work, but like it's fine because I expected to get nothing, honestly. But in terms of monetizing, I've been contacted several times by companies that want me to like promote their platform. I get hit up by a lot of NFT projects, which I'm never gonna promote an NFT project, honestly, because I don't think that's like super safe in terms of like promoting, because the majority of my audience is beginners. Um, but yeah, I do get like hit up by like exchanges like every here and then, but my rate to do that is kind of like high because I want to focus on education. I want to focus on like educating people, and I don't want to like become a commercial, because there's a lot of like TikTokers on crypto. You don't know like what's education and what's shilling a coin that doesn't do anything, and what's an NFT, and what's a paid placement. So I'm trying to be like strictly education. And there's like other ways to monetize too. Like I have like an email list and all that stuff. So, and also I do consulting as well.
So as far as all of that goes, what is the next, let's say, 3 months or 6 months of strategy for turning this into a full-time job?
Basically just as much content as I possibly can. Trying to I have a pretty good like turnaround time with my TikTok, because like I've been editing videos my whole life, so I can turn that around. The only thing with TikTok is like coming up with fresh like content like consistently, but like there's ways to get around that. I can answer questions. I could like redo a video because there's like people that haven't seen it before. Staying consistent with YouTube, which is like another monster in itself, because I want my TikTok and my YouTube to be the same but different. Like TikTok should be like tweets, and YouTube should be like a 30-minute deep dive, educational, white paper breakdown, all that stuff. And I think with time, my YouTube will be monetized as well, because this TikTok has definitely boosted my YouTube channel. So, but I do think my short to medium term strategy in terms of 6 months is just a lot of content, focus on quality, and I'll honestly probably worry about money like later down the line.
Has the guy on the couch become your brand? Is that a part of your sort of image, or is that, even if it was an accident, or is that going to change?
I've been thinking about filming other places, like because I'm going on vacation next week, and I'm like really like thinking like, should I film like a bunch of videos on the couch and like schedule them to post while I'm on vacation, or should I film while I'm on vacation and like kind of switch it up? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna like stick to the guy on the couch for now because people seem to like that. And then maybe like in a couple months, if I get bored with that, I'll do something else.
Be the guy on the couch, but it could be different couches. You could be on vacation on a different couch, same frame, same angle.
Oh,
Still guy on a couch. Maybe it's
same microphone.
a hotel couch or whatever kind of couch.
I actually like that. That'd be funny if I was like on the beach on a couch, just talking as if I'm still back here.
Yep, on the beach. That'd be great. That'd be amazing.
That'd be hilarious. That's fine. All right, I'm gonna write that down.
Maybe there's got to be on Amazon like an inflatable couch you can bring anywhere.
Yeah.
For like the beach or wherever.
I'm just in swim trunks or something. That's smart. Okay, put that in the back pocket.
I love it. I was telling my dad that you were coming on the show, and he knew you. He was because I got my dad addicted to TikTok.
Oh, no way.
And he's like, "Oh, that guy on the couch. Yeah, I listen to him all the time." And it
Oh
really
my God,
is.
that's so
It
funny.
really has become your trademark.
That's great. That's great. I guess the couch is staying.
Can we do a little bit of your greatest hits of TikTok? Because I want to introduce some of these terms to my audience. I think it's great what you're doing, and I'm hoping we can do sort of a miniature version of it right now.
Absolutely.
Let's start with Web3. What is Web3?
So Web3 is, it's how I like to explain it. It's like internet ownership kind of. So in order to understand Web3, you kind of have to like go through Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. So Web 1 was basically the era of the 90s where people were just throwing stuff on the web, like just web pages that didn't connect to anything. And Web 1 was like the process of the web pages linking together. So it was actually becoming the web because they were starting to talk to each other. And you could only publish to the web if you knew how to program. Then comes Web 2. Code starts to get more sophisticated where you can build platforms that allow anyone to create content online. So you have your Shopifys, you have your YouTubes, you have your WordPress. So everybody's a content creator. That's Web 2. Web 3 is taking that entire experience, but it is decentralized and everybody has a piece of it. So right now, when you're on the internet, you are most likely, even though like people say the web is already decentralized, it's pretty centralized because it's on Amazon Web Services, the majority of it, or Microsoft servers or Google servers. So the internet's kind of controlled by like 3 companies. What Web3 does is it takes all of that server processing, data, power, and ideally it puts it on the device you're using to explore the web. So if you're on decentralized YouTube, you're actually running YouTube on your device. So it's like in your pocket.
Yeah, maybe can you explain what a dApp is?
Yes, a dApp is a decentralized app. So think of an app like Twitter. Twitter's pretty centralized because it is run from Twitter headquarters. Even though I always get this comment, Twitter's on servers all over the world. Of course it is, but it's run by one company. If it were a decentralized Twitter, it would be run by every computer that's accessing decentralized Twitter. That would be a dApp.
Can you talk a little bit about those computers, the decentralized computers? Because I think it's really hard for people to wrap their head around how this is run, how it's decentralized, how there are computers everywhere running something.
Yeah, so with blockchain technology, basically the essence of it is, at least for all the nodes, all the computers on a certain network like Bitcoin, in order for it to be peer-to-peer and decentralized, all the computers have to agree that everything is happening at once. So they got to be like, yo, this transaction is happening. Everyone has to be like, okay, that's good, you know? So everybody's computer is like working at the speed of light to verify that nothing is fraudulent, no transaction is fraudulent. No one's like trying to hack into like a certain system, and hacking into a decentralized system is like way more difficult as well, because you would need to gain at least 51% control of the network to like game a decentralized system. But that's basically the idea of it, is that you can't attack one thing to take everything down. You have to attack everything, and everything is working together to keep one thing secure, the platform that you're using.
With decentralized apps and DAOs, and we'll explain that in a second, once they're set up, because it's decentralized, can they be shut down? If I have decentralized YouTube on my phone, for example, a decentralized version of YouTube, could that ever be shut down, or no?
Well, really, no. There is a thing, like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with governance tokens. So like with, people always ask who's in charge of the decentralized platform or company or whatever. It's whoever is the holder of the most governance tokens. So ideally there is supposed to be a vote in like major decisions of the decentralized platform, and whoever holds the most governance tokens has the most say in said vote. And it's that way because they have the most monetary, like, they have the most to lose if like the decision is bad. So the only way I could see a decentralized system being shut down is if the largest governance holder was like, okay, we're going to shut this software down, because of course all or most decentralized software should be open source so that everybody can like have access to it and like add to it, because that's like the promise of it, is that everybody can build on it. Yeah, that's the only way I can honestly see it being shut down. I can't see like a government like going in and shut down every computer like running Ethereum or whatever, or running an app on Ethereum. It's just too much. So no would be my answer.
Can you explain a little bit more about what a governance token is? Can you help people visualize or understand, digest what is that token? What is it?
Think of governance tokens as basically like, think of it, it's kind of like shares of a company, but it's different. So if you have shares of a company, you have ownership of the company. If you have governance tokens, you don't have ownership of the platform, but you have a say in the direction of the platform. So you don't have equity, but you have like equity in its future. Because decentralized platforms are usually open source, if somebody wanted to like add a feature to a decentralized platform, they would write up the code and they would like pitch it to like the people who hold the governance tokens on like a forum or something, and then there would be a vote that's held and they vote on it, and whoever holds the most governance tokens has the most say in the vote. And then people like to ask, how is that like fair if somebody has a larger say in the vote? But the people that have the larger say in the vote, like I said earlier, have the most monetarily at stake. And also another thing is they are most likely like the main developer of the platform that you're using. So they probably have like a pretty good idea of where it should go. But if I didn't like the way like, I don't know, decentralized YouTube was running, and I wanted them to add a feature and I had the financial resources, I could just buy up as much governance token as I can afford, and then I can do whatever I want with it. So that's basically the power of governance tokens.
Are governance tokens held in your wallet the same way Ether or Bitcoin is held in your wallet?
Yes, all ERC20 tokens are held in your wallet.
And ERC20, explain what ERC20 is.
ERC20 is the protocol for building tokens on the Ethereum network. So an example I like to use is Apple. If you want to build an app for the App Store, Apple can give you like a kit called an API kit, basically like a set of guidelines and kind of like a template, but not really, so that all apps kind of like run the same and look the same and kind of have the same design on iOS. That's what ERC20 is for Ethereum. So if you want to make a token on Ethereum, you would just follow the ERC20 protocol, make a smart contract, and you'd have your own token. And it's actually pretty easy. People have made like tools to like make ERC20 tokens with like 2 clicks.
what is a smart contract? What is gas?
A smart contract is a contract that deploys or executes automatically once certain conditions have been met. So, for example, if you and I were to make a bet, Matt, that the Lakers win the next game, and I say they're not going to win, and you say they are, and we bet $10. Yeah, it's the Celtics. And and then I lose the bet, but I'm like, yo, I don't want to pay Matt $10, and so I skip town, don't answer his calls. And you're like, yo, can you send me the $10? I just don't answer. If we made that on a smart contract, then as soon as the game is won, you would get the money. And smart contracts can get really sophisticated to a point where like you can build entire companies without people, or you can make platforms and apps, and in the future it's going to be able to do stuff that like we can't even comprehend right now. I kind of like to compare it to, I wasn't very old in the 90s, but I'm sure like people in the 90s didn't really think that we'd be like talking like this to our computer, like with video, super clear video and audio, you know. And then gas is basically the name for what a transaction fee is on Ethereum. So Ethereum transaction fees, you have these computers solving these math problems, keeping the blockchain secure, and these computers need to get paid, and they are paid with both Ether when they solve the problem first and keep the blockchain secure, and they are paid with gas fees from people like you and me that pay enormous fees to trade coins and do stuff on the blockchain.
What's a DAO?
A DAO it stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So it's basically a company without people. So it's a bunch of smart contracts talking to each other with like a bunch of nests of parameters. If this happens, do this. If this doesn't happen, do this. And ideally, you can make a DAO so sophisticated that an entire company can be run. A good example of a DAO today, people like to draw this comparison, is like a vending machine that automatically orders more supply when it runs low, except like a person has to come and like fill it up. But imagine a robot did that or something. That's like an easy way to think of a DAO. There's like no human there and it's running itself.
Does every DAO automatically have governance tokens, or not necessarily?
Well, if it's just run by one person, it's not really decentralized. But I guess in theory, you could create a DAO and like not issue governance tokens, but then it's just an autonomous organization because no one else has a say.
But don't the DAO makers limit the governance, right? They're still putting rules and certain red tape up as far as what can be governed, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I know a lot of projects that are like, we're going to start centralized, and then over time, as we get like more mature, we're going to start to become decentralized, and then after a certain number of years, we're going to be full decentralized. Like a good example of that is Cardano started pretty centralized, and now they're working towards becoming a decentralized platform. But yeah, there are DAOs that are like, that kind of like keep it in sort of like this walled garden, I guess you could say, which I don't really like. My definition of a DAO is just like, let it run itself. Like you get it started, and then if someone has a great idea that they think will really build it, then issue governance tokens, go through the whole process. But yeah, no, there are DAOs for sure where people like have a little bit more reins on it, and a lot of them to issue governance tokens over time. So they'll like hold a lot of the governance tokens, like they'll hold like 60%, and then they'll issue like 5% a year or something out to the public.
Are these organizations all, to begin with, built on Ethereum or built on the blockchain, or where do they sort of begin? Where's the foundation for them to even consider being a DAO?
Let's say you and I had like an idea for a company. I think today it would be smart for us to start building on Ethereum, just because that's where all the attention is. If we had the idea for like let's copy Uber, but just make it a DAO. So we would form
Right.
like make a website, build out smart contracts, and basically make it sophisticated enough to be a platform. Make a website with like a forum and like publish the code and be like, all right, this is out there now. If anybody wants to add to it, go for it. Like do your thing. So that's kind of like that's like basically how DAOs start. And some of them are like obviously more serious than others. A lot of them are just experiments. But this is for sure the wild west of Web3 and what smart contracts will be able to do.
Yeah.
It's definitely the early 90s, probably even late 80s, honestly. Because like no matter how good like these exchanges get, crypto is still very not user friendly. Like this whole space is super like hostile unless you know what you're looking at. But you know, we'll get there eventually.
If we were to build that company together, a DAO together, is it essentially like building a normal website, but you're building it in a special browser that like MetaMask that supports these decentralized organizations, or how does that work? How do you obviously you need to understand code and you need to understand how to build a smart contract and a website, but where do you do it? Where is this location that you do it?
So Ethereum is run on this code called Solidity. And your wallet, like you said, MetaMask, is basically like your internet browser to these decentralized apps, the decentralized web. However, there are platforms where you can literally just go on Google Chrome and like browse these decentralized platforms as if they were websites that you go on every day. One of them is called DTube. It's decentralized YouTube. Like it's the idea that it's not housed in one central place. It's not run by one central authority, but you can go on there. You can even go on there on your phone and like look at it. However, like you will in the future, like browse more Web3 stuff and interact with the blockchain and keep all of your digital assets in your wallet. I think that's going to be like one form of identity in the future, kind of like your ID is right now. I think like your wallet is going to be like kind of that important because it's going to have all this documentation about you, and you're going to use that to like do stuff too.
What's an NFT?
An NFT is a way of proving that a digital item is one of a kind. That's my one sentence definition. It's if you attach an immutable ledger to a piece of digital property. So the digital property itself isn't that valuable because anybody can screenshot a picture of the Mona Lisa or whatever, but there's only one Mona Lisa, right? So like that's my comparison. So if I showed you a picture of the Mona Lisa, you'd be like, cool, but the real one's in a museum somewhere. But how do we prove that in a digital space where something can be replicated infinitely? So another example would be a deed to a house. Anybody can like screenshot a PDF of like your right to ownership of a piece of property. But my deed has blockchain verification that I purchased this property and I've owned it since 2003. And then the person before me owned it since 1995, and the person before that since 1983. So in the future, everything that needs a track record is going to be on the blockchain in the form of an NFT. And NFT stands for non-fungible token.
What are your thoughts on how NFTs are going to change the music industry?
I think it's going to be more significant than I can probably explain today. I think that everything from real estate to entertainment to finance to gaming to business is going to be touched by NFTs in some way, shape, or form.
I agree with everything you just said, and I'm wondering what your theory is as far as the direction it's going to go. You know, how can people start preparing now, whether it's learning about it through your TikTok, whether it's creating their own DAOs or NFTs? Where is this going, and how can people start preparing?
So I would do a lot of research on YouTube and look up stuff on Google, but be careful because a lot of it is not fraudulent information, but a lot of it is based on hype. Right now is the gold rush of NFTs. It is the .com bubble. The way we value JPEGs of monkeys now will not be the case in 5 years, I promise you. However, the technology is here to stay. So instead of, like, my suggestion is, instead of people wasting their time figuring out how I can flip a monkey picture for 100 grand, I would study like the long-term effects of NFTs, what industries are going to be disrupted, companies that are already like investing in like things around NFTs, basically like stuff like that. Because like right now, like the technology's here, people just don't know what to do with it, and I feel like the easiest thing to do is make art that normally wouldn't be valued at very much and just like trade it back and forth like a hot potato. But like any day now, like people are gonna wake up and be like, wait a second, like this ain't it. But the technology, NFTs will be around forever. NFTs are here to stay for sure.
Have you thought about using it for your own content creation, turning your videos into NFTs, or creating some a DAO around education of this stuff, or I don't know. Are there any ways you've thought about using this technology for yourself?
I have been playing with a couple ideas. I am creating like I don't want to be that one guy that's like, oh, I'm making a course, but of course you got to make a course if you're on TikTok.
I'm one of the guys who buys the courses, so it's all good.
Yeah. So I'm making a course basically about like a little bit deeper into the stuff I teach on TikTok, but I want the certificate of authentication to be an NFT, and I do think it would be interesting if you like interact with the website by connecting your crypto wallet, so that you don't have to like put in like a bunch of credit card information or all that stuff like that. So it's really just like an experiment I'm building, and on the flip side, you get not only an NFT from a course, but you also get the education too. So now you have an NFT and you actually know what like NFTs are used for, and you know like what cryptocurrency is used for. So that's something I'm working on, and I do think there's a lot of those are gonna pop up like soon. Not just for courses, but for like every way. Yeah, it's a race to the finish, but I do want the course to be good, so I'm kind of taking my time on it. Interesting though, I did start on the course before I even started on TikTok, before I even started on YouTube. I was just like making it to see like if I could teach it, and then my friend was like, "How are you going to promote this?" And I was like, "I don't know. let me try YouTube. Let me try TikTok." So yeah, that'll probably be done in like a couple months, hopefully. Not too long. But yeah, that. And another thing I was thinking of was I don't think I'm gonna do this, but I know like people are doing this, is they're making like NFTs, or influencers or creators are making NFTs, and that basically gives you like access to maybe going to like lunch with them, or like just hanging out with them or something. So in that sense, NFTs have the tangible utility of being able to do something in the physical world. I think we're gonna see a lot of that in terms of like tickets. Like if Drake just wants to sell tickets to his fans, but not go through Ticketmaster, And then you just like walk up to the Drake concert and they're like, all right, let's see the verification on the blockchain. You can get in, but your friend took a screenshot or photoshopped it or whatever. We can't verify that. They got to wait outside. We're going to see a lot of that. College degrees. Oh, you went to Stanford? Oh, it came straight from Stanford's wallet. Like, you must have went to Stanford. That's going to be huge. Real estate, like I said. And even stuff I can't even like think of, honestly. Like, people are creative. Like, people come up with stuff every day. So we'll see. It's really exciting.
What are the ways that you're seeing the utility of NFTs now? I know I've seen most of the NFT projects I see or DAOs I see, it seems to be, oh, we're going to have parties and your NFT kind of gets you into the party. It's something like that. What else have you seen?
I've seen a lot of like stuff with NFTs unlocking stuff in video games. It's not like right now, I feel like people don't really know what to do with NFTs because still NFTs are so not user friendly and there's kind of like a barrier to entry in terms of knowledge. So they can't, that's what's like keeping them from being mainstream. Also, Ethereum kind of sucks as a platform in terms of it's slow and it's expensive, but that'll be fixed in time. So like there's really no like super exciting NFT utilizations that I've seen because everything that would be cool is still faster other ways, like Ticketmaster, super fast, even though you got to pay like a little fee. Like you don't have to wait an hour to get your ticket like you probably would if someone sent you an NFT ticket on Ethereum. But like once Ethereum improves, like I think the possibilities are endless. But right now, everyone's like, what's the easiest thing we can do? Oh, just make 10,000 monkey pictures and trade them around. See who gets to hold the bag last.
Right. This isn't a finance podcast, and this isn't finance advice. But what are you investing in crypto, and what do you recommend to people who are just getting started? Should they invest in crypto, and if so, what's a good way to get started?
Of course, not investment advice, of course, but like I always say, start with the basics. Bitcoin, Ethereum, like those are pretty easy to understand, especially Bitcoin. Like I usually say, Bitcoin is a store of value, store of economic energy, appreciates very quickly, super volatile. It's finite. They can't make more of it like super easily. And then you have Ethereum, which is a whole nother animal. It's a platform. Think of Bitcoin like a calculator and Ethereum like your smartphone. With Ethereum, you're not investing in the value so much as you're investing in the future of the platform. So in the future, when most things are running on smart contracts and you need the cryptocurrency Ether to do anything, you're going to want to have a lot of it. So that's why Ethereum is so exciting. And then if they're super interested, I'll say, okay, well, there's a couple more of them just like Ethereum, except they're a little better. They're called Cardano, Solana, and Polkadot. If you want to do research on that, go for it. They're a little bit better because the transaction process and the authentication process is different. And that's usually where I stop. Like I don't really go into the ERC20 crypto casino, Shiba Inu, you know, unless there's just like a degenerate that just like wants to make a lot of money and they're like cool with it. But me personally, I really like most of my investment attention is on the things that I know will be here in 10 years plus, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then the smart contract ones, Cardano, Polkadot, all those that are competing with Ethereum. And then the other ones I just like to just watch and talk about.
So why do you think that Ethereum and Cardano and Solana, why do you feel like these will be around in 10 years and not some new Twitter, Facebook, DeFi, DApp that's taking the world by storm?
It very well could be something new. Like something could pop up like next year. But Ethereum is already like so embedded in the culture. Like Bitcoin is like mainstream. Like even if you're not in Bitcoin, you've heard of it. You may not have heard of Ethereum, but if you're like semi invested in cryptocurrency, you've heard of Ethereum. So it's like it's in people's brains and it has the most money. And then there's the other ones that are better on paper, but they're not like nobody's using them. Nobody's really building things for them. Like Cardano deployed the ability to make smart contracts a couple months ago, but I haven't seen or heard of any really exciting projects or anybody making NFTs on Cardano. But, you know, like time will tell. But because Ethereum has like so much money in it right now, I don't know the market cap, but it's the second largest cryptocurrency. I do think that it has probably the most staying power out of all of them. I even think it has the potential to flip Bitcoin in terms of market cap in time, but who knows? We'll see.
What are some questions that you have about Web3 or blockchain or crypto that you haven't figured out yet, that you're still trying to understand?
Well, there's a lot of questions deep in the computer engineering side that I have that I just can't understand because I'm just like that, not that kind of guy. I studied computer science in college, but I graduated like almost 5 years ago, and I haven't like really coded. But my thing is like I like to like build things. I still build websites on WordPress and make YouTube videos. I'm an editor and all that. And I can understand like the surface level stuff, like why it works, like where it's going. But in terms of like when someone asks me, so how exactly when I go into decentralized YouTube, is it going to be run on my device? Like how are we going to be able to take all that data and move it about and decentralize it? And I can like abstractly like explain like it's this new thing. They use these algorithms to like split the data so that it like fills into crevices where there's like space on your hard drive where data isn't being held. But that's like as far as I can go. I can't tell you like who invented that or like what language it's written in or why it does it or what method. Like,
sure.
Those are the questions I have. Like I'm looking for someone to explain to me.
Before we wrap up, what did we miss today that people who are just starting to learn about these topics, what did we miss that they should know?
They should know that we are still very early, even though cryptocurrency's been around for like 10 years. It's going to be around for the next 100 because our lives, everything is becoming digital. Like, no matter how afraid you are or not, when everything is digital, you need a way to authenticate digital property and you need peer-to-peer digital money. So that's further proof that everything's going to stay around. And the other thing is, that's why everything's so volatile too, because it's so new. Like, people are in, people are out. There's not a lot of people to like stabilize it. And also, don't be afraid to do research, because I honestly don't know much more than a lot of people like a couple years or so ago, but I'm just like passionate about learning new things and passionate about where technology is going, and like deadly afraid of being that guy that just doesn't know like what society is like on, like going on technologically. So I'm always trying to like stay ahead of the curve, and everything I read is pointing toward the decentralization of the internet and cryptocurrency, NFTs, blockchain, metaverse, all that is under the Web3 umbrella. So do some research, YouTube, Google, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Awesome. Well, Bon, thank you so much for joining on the show today. And this is definitely, hopefully people made it to the end of this episode, but this is not a substitute for your TikTok, which is an amazing resource. So head to @BonJenn. We'll provide a link in the description and on screen. And thank you again for coming on the show. And we'll also put your YouTube link as well.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.